And with that, welcome you inside this edition of Big Ten Today. I'm Rick Pizzo. Really excited in just a bit to introduce you to Ohio State linebacker Cody Simon. Not just an outstanding player, but one of the best leaders in all of college football and an amazing representative for Ohio State. You'll also ride alongside with our training camp tour as we hear reaction from coast to coast. But we begin with the big story, and what a week it was for Iowa rising sophomore golfer Noah Kent. Made it through 36 holes of stroke play to finish inside the top 64 and then to match play at the ultimate amateur tournament in all of golf, the USAM. He then went on an incredible run, making it all the way to the championship match. He finishes as the 2024 U.S. Amateur runner-up. And we are thrilled to have Noah Kent with us on today's edition of Big Ten Today. Noah, now a few days removed from that amazing run up at Hazeltine, has the significance of what you accomplished really sunk in?
I'd say, not at all. I mean, I drove down last night from Hazeltine and got moved in my apartment, and now it's kind of getting back into the swing of all the school things and getting ready for the college season.
So what was the overall experience like just to be part of the USAM, your first major USGA event, and to make your way through stroke play and to make that amazing run all the way until the championship final?
I mean, the experience is unlike any other. It was my first USGA event. I mean, I was in 240th place after the first round of stroke play. And then to make it all the way to the final is just kind of like something you can't even really put into words.
You say 240th as if it's a bad thing. These are the best amateur golfers in the world on one of the hardest courses in the world. You and I had the chance to chat before we began the interview here. I've had the chance to play Hazeltine in the wind, saw exactly how difficult it can be. How would you describe the difficulty of that course to a golfer who has never had the chance to get up there and play?
I mean, you can watch the U.S. Open and all the majors on TV. It's like a major, but for the amateur level. I mean, the rough's thick, the greens are firm. I mean, it's just hard. You kind of have to you got to play some really good golf. I mean, you can't joke it around for 18 holes. You got to play really good.
You had the opportunity to play with Stuart Hagestad, one of the most decorated and longest serving amateurs in U.S. golf history, and you described his game as kind of playing chess on the golf course. How much did you learn from him in that round that helped you throughout the course of the week up at Hazeltine?
I feel watching him hit the ball was something that was really cool to see, and how he kind of picked and chooses his spots, but more so his self-belief. I mean, he's a mid-am, he's in his 30s, and you have players like me who are 19, 20, who are a sophomore and junior in college. They kind of have nothing to lose, and he's out there, one of the best players in the world. I mean, just showing how much belief he has in himself, even though he's a little bit older than the average competition there, was really cool to see.
So you had to have a ton of belief in yourself, especially after that first round. How did you get yourself in a position to qualify through stroke play and make that field of 64 into match play?
I talked to my sports psychologist, my swing coach, and a good friend of mine who's actually won the USAM before, John Harris. And we knew that the course that I was playing tomorrow, Chaska Town course, was a little bit more scoreable. You kind of sprayed a little bit more. Wasn't necessarily Hazeltine, how firm and how hard it was a little bit softer. And I got off to a good start and ended up shooting 64 and snuck my way in.
So then after you qualify for match play, you get a text from your head coach, Tyler Stith, and I want to talk a little bit about that text because he said, I want you to pretend like you are the kind of guy that no one wants to go up against, to be that player. And your response spoke volumes to me. You basically said, I am that guy, and you referenced a match that you had won against your former teammate, Mac McClear, former Big Ten champion and one of the best golfers that we've seen in this conference in recent years. How much of your self-belief in yourself, confidence, and belief that you can win matches do you believe is an edge, especially when you get into this match play kind of format?
Talking to everybody, it's kind of just doesn't matter what. They got into it a little bit about your world ranking or whatever, but it's you earn your way into top 64 in match play. It doesn't matter if you're the one guy or the 64 guy, you've earned your right to be there. And it's I feel talking to all my teammates and talking to Mac and talking to everybody here, it's match play kind of suits me because I make a lot of birdies, and it doesn't matter if you make a high number. You only lose one hole. And it's like the more birdies you make and the more quality shots hit, you're just going to win. So.
And I believe of those first 4 matches that you played in match play, only one made it to the 18th hole because you were so hot, making so many low numbers. Once you got into match play, what did you feel like you were doing so well?
I just feel like I had a lot more belief in myself than I ever have in my life. And it was the first time in like a tournament, like you didn't care about what you were. Like you're playing a stroke play event. It's like, oh, I'm 4 under par, I'm 2 over, I'm even par. Like, you're only worried about winning the next hole. It doesn't matter if you're 2 up, 2 down. It's just like the main focus is trying to win the next hole, and whether that's getting the match back to even or trying to close out a match, it's just the next hole is the only thing that really matters.
Your quarterfinal blew my mind. I watched through 16 holes, and it ended on the 16th green. I believe you made 6 birdies and an eagle. What does your game feel like when you're in that kind of zone? I imagine you're looking at every pin and thinking no matter where it's tucked on the green, that is a green light.
It's kind of funny. So I've been like looking back at my highlights because I haven't been really able to have anything sink in for me. And like I'm looking back at my quarterfinal match specifically, and it's like that flop shot I hold. It's just like I don't even know what I was doing. It was kind of just like an out of body, to be honest. Like I kind of felt like I got in the zone really early. I mean, I birdied the first 4 holes, and I was only 2 up. So, I mean, it was kind of just going to be a birdie fest because Ethan was a great player.
Now, that sets up a showdown with another Big Ten golfer, Illinois' Jackson Buchanan, who's the reigning co-Big Ten golfer of the year. How did a familiar face and a guy whose game you know, and I assume he knows your game very well, affect the way that you kind of approached that match against Jackson?
I mean, I knew it was going to be like a dogfight. Like, it's going to be back and forth. He's going to make some big shots. I'm going to hit some big shots. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, you got to stay level. And he gave me a couple holes early, and then he kind of pounced back. And then 15, I don't know if you saw that. I mean, he made like a 20-footer that was breaking so much. And then I stepped up kind of like I had the whole week, and I made it on top of him. And I feel like that right there kind of like gave the match back to me, because I guarantee he was probably thinking, okay, like, I probably got this thing back to even, and then I made it on top of him, and he probably got a little shocked.
Was there a point during that match, late in the match, when you're about to close it out, where you allowed yourself to think about what would it mean and the auto exemption to next year's U.S. Open, the likely invite to the Masters, and everything that goes along with being a USAM finalist?
I feel like I knew before the tournament started that the semifinal match is way harder than the final because, like, exactly what you said, like all these exemptions that you receive. But I feel like once I get on the golf course, I mean, it's business. Like, nothing's really going through my head besides the number of the shot or what club I'm going to hit off the tee. I feel like I get so locked in and in the zone that nothing's really going to rattle me.
How hard was it to refocus for that 36-hole final after that semifinal match and knowing what you had just gained?
And it's awesome. Like, as soon as I walked up the green of the semifinal match, like, all my parents are there, like, hugging me and saying all this stuff and congrats. And, you know, it's awesome, like, receiving the exemptions into both the tournaments, well, the likely invitation to the Masters. But it's like, I knew then and there that, like, my job wasn't finished there this week. Like, I really wanted to win the Havemeyer Trophy. I didn't end up doing so, but I can still, I mean, I fought like crazy, and, you know, it's still a major success week, so.
No question about it, and it was a fight in that 36-hole final against Jose Luis Ballester. You get down 3 very early through the first 4 holes. You're 4 down in the second 18, and then you come back to win 13, 14, and 16, and suddenly it's just a 1-up lead for Jose with 2 to play. Even though you didn't get it done at the end, how proud were you of the way that you came back late in that match and never allowed it to get away from you?
Yeah, I talked to John Harris, and he mentioned to me, like, if you go down fighting and you don't end up winning, like, you can still hold your head really high and know in your heart that you gave it your all. But if you don't go down fighting, it's kind of going to, like, leave you haunted and, like, leave question marks in your head, like, why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? I mean, I did everything I could. I mean, I hit a good wedge shot on 17. I thought it hung up top and thought maybe that was going to get it to 18 all square. But, like, I mean, I fought like crazy, so.
And now you get ready for the season with the Iowa Hawkeyes. With all of this as the backdrop, you say you've just gotten back to campus, you're getting ready for classes, you're getting ready for the fall season. What are your goals, both individually and for this team, as you get set to start the 24-25 college golf season?
I'm just ready. I mean, I feel like I'll be able to show a little bit more leadership than I did last year as a freshman. I feel like I've matured a ton over the past year and definitely over the past 10 days playing that tournament. We started season up at Minnesota's event in Winsong. I definitely want to get some W's for the team. And like, I'd love an individual W, but I'm more worried about the team. So I just want what's best for us.
Well, Noah, it was an absolute blast watching you this week. Look forward to watching you and the Hawkeyes this fall and spring. I know Coach Tyler Stith, very excited to have you back on campus riding all that momentum after the runner-up finish at the USAM. Noah Kent, thanks for the time, my friend.
Thank you so much.
When Ohio State linebacker and team captain Cody Simon was awarded the team's coveted Block O jersey after practice Saturday, Simon became just the fifth Buckeye and the second non-Ohioan to receive the jersey that honors Bill Willis and represents, quote, toughness, accountability, and the highest of character, end quote. Simon joins Jonathan Cooper, the first recipient of the Block O in 2020, when the NCAA allowed the number 0 to be worn by different positions. Thayer Munford earned the honor in 21, followed by Cameron Babb, Xavier Johnson, and now Cody Simon exchanges his number 30 for the most desirable of all jerseys in scarlet and gray. And we're excited because Cody Simon is our guest for today's big interview. Cody, let's get right down to it. What does it mean to you to be honored with the Block O?
You know, it really means everything about, coming to Ohio State. Since I've been here, I've seen all the other Block O award winners, and, you really try to emulate and see what made those guys so great, such great leaders and such great people. Whether it's like Cam Babb or Jonathan Cooper, I really try to model myself after those kind of leaders and really try to be, take parts of them and be kind of like them and try to take my own way of being a leader. And I'm just thankful that my teammates and my coaches, have noticed that and really appreciated my kind of leadership.
How would you describe your emotional state when it was announced over the weekend that you'd be wearing that jersey?
It was definitely emotional. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, and a lot of being around my teammates and a lot of struggle, a lot of pain, and a lot of that coming to kind of one moment of like achieving something that you kind of dreamed of doing your whole life. It got pretty emotional, but I was super thankful. I'm super thankful for my teammates and all my coaches.
What happens to the number 30 this season?
I think I already decided to, but I'm going to put that on the back burner. I'm going to wear the Block O because I just think it signifies so much more for the team, and having a leader be able to wear that and for the meaning of the jersey, I just think it's the right thing to do.
Does it get hidden in your locker? Do you give it to a family member? Where does it go for the course of the year?
The 30?
Yeah.
I haven't really planned that yet. It's all happened really so fast. I'll probably have my mom still maybe wear it, or she'll have like a double jersey. I don't know what we'll do yet. So we'll figure that out by the time the season gets here.
With how much I know you already expect of yourself on an everyday basis, what else is required for the guy who wears that Block O?
I've actually thought about that a lot over this past couple of days. Like what do you have to do differently because you've gotten this honor? And really what I've always come back to is just, the reason I got it, or the reason I was awarded that, is from just what I've done consistently every day. And I think that's really what I want to really continue to do. Whether it be the guy who does more film, does, more extra work, I just want to be that same guy who was given that honor. It's all the hard work. It's the leadership. It's the bringing guys together. I want to keep doing what I'm doing and allow this season to keep going and keep being that vocal and emotional leader for the team.
Had the chance to text back and forth with your position coach, James Laurinaitis, an Ohio State legend who's also a friend of mine. I asked him to describe you. He said you are, quote, a coach's dream and a, quote, unreal leader. So how did you develop your skills, not just as a player, but as the kind of guy who teammates rely on to show them the way?
I think I get a lot of my, skills and ability as a leader just from watching other people. Growing up, my brother was my leader. He played college football. He's in the NFL right now, and I've learned so much of what I know now is what I've learned from him, especially my parents. They've all been such great impacts in my life, whether it be in sports or out of sports. And so really, I think what I've done a lot throughout my career is watch the people in front of me and take parts of them that I want to emulate in myself. And, whether it's leaders that came before at Ohio State, like, Tough Borland and Pete Warner, I've really tried to, like take on everything that I've seen them do and make it into my own. And I think that's really helped me be a good leader. And, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to be a better leader, but, that's the process of being a football player and being a linebacker.
You kind of set the tone for this year's defense before last year ever ended, being the first guy to say, I'm coming back for another year. I'm going to use that final year of eligibility. Then 8, 9 more guys who could have declared for the draft on this defense decided to follow suit and do the same. How confident were you that guys like JTT and Jack Sawyer and Denzel Burke would follow your lead?
That kind of decision is such a tough decision for all those guys. Maybe even tougher for them because some of those guys were higher draft pick potential players. I have so much respect and gratitude for those guys because that's a tough decision, and they're really making a decision based on their career. But I think we all had that sense of that pride, and we want to be able to leave something here that we want to leave it better than we got it, and I think we wanted to finish it off really well, finish off this next season, and there's a lot left on the bone for us to go and really trying to finish this season. And I'm so thankful those guys came back because they are also the biggest leaders on this team, and the younger guys on the team are looking forward to them to lead, and as well as am I, because it's not an easy thing to do to make a decision to leave money on the table and come back and go through all this hard work and grinding. And I'm so thankful that they did decide to come back because it could be a special year this year.
All right, I know it doesn't come down to one game. You guys want to win them all this year and win a national title. But how much did that pair of gold pants that guys don't have right now drive some of those decisions, in your opinion?
I would say it's probably everything. It's probably the main reason everyone wanted to come back. It's something we do here every day. So when you put all that work in and you don't see the results, you want to do something differently, and you want to go and finally accomplish that goal. And I would say it's the only reason people really came back. So, that's what we're aiming for, and that's what the goal is going to be.
All right, Cody, Coach Laurinaitis tells me we share a love for the New York Giants. You're a Jersey guy, I know. Who's your favorite all-time Giants player?
Favorite all-time Giants? I would probably say it would probably be like Justin Tuck. I used to watch that defense, and I think a lot of times they carried our Super Bowl games and Super Bowl winnings against Tom Brady. Even though Eli had some great moments, I think our defense was really the X factor in those games. So, he's a really good player, and I actually had the opportunity to meet him when I was younger playing Pop Warner. So it was a great opportunity to see him there.
All right, let's finish here. I got to see 4 Giants Super Bowls in my lifetime. You probably got to see 2. For this team to win the Super Bowl of college football and the national title this year, what's the number one thing that has to happen?
You have to be a tough team. When it gets down to the end of the season, that's all that really comes down to it. When it's December, it's cold or whatever, like being able to finish drives, finish games, and we talk about it all the time on our team. It's just being able to be that tough team at the end. Who's going to get those extra yards? Who's going to stop the offense? So that's really what's going to come down to.
Cody Simon will wear the Blocko for Ohio State this year. Great representative for not just Ohio State in the Big Ten, but for college football as a whole. Cody, congrats on that honor. Wish you and the Buckeyes the best of luck throughout the course of 2024.
Thank you so much. Go Bucks.
One of the most watched offensive coordinators in all of college football this season is sure to be first-year UCLA OC Eric Bieniemy. One of the great running backs of all time during his playing days, Bieniemy a huge ad for new head coach Deshaun Foster. Bieniemy, first up as we hear from some rock star OCs, QBs, and others, courtesy of our Big Ten Network training camp tour.
Coach was a great offensive coordinator. And what made him even better is that he had to deal with all of us. We put him through hell. But he was an outstanding coach. He led us and taught us the game and gave us an opportunity to pursue our dreams. And I'll just say this, because of that, all those friendships have remained intact. Just how you guys presented to us, because I'll never forget that. When we got there, first of all, we wanted to win the Big 8. We had to go beat Oklahoma and Nebraska. But then it became about a national championship, and that's that's the same aspirations that I've always wanted to give back to these young men.
Well, he prepared every day like he was a starter, and I think that's helped him, and I think it showed off in the bowl game. He was able to step in and really not miss a beat because of his preparation and how he looked at going to the game. You know, Miller, in my opinion, is the ideal guy of if you're thinking of, okay, who's a person that is truly unselfish and is really about this university and about this team. Miller would definitely be the person that pitchers and that falls up under that category.
He's elite when it comes to the X's and O's and game planning and play design and stuff like that, and his timing with how he calls certain things is elite as well. But I think what really separates him is his temperament with his quarterbacks and his ability to put his guys in positions to be successful and really cater towards their specific skill set.
We had a few older pieces, a few experienced pieces that were still here that kind of knew what the standard looked like to try to bring the rest of the guys into it quickly. So you have like the Gus's of the world, the Hudsons, the Maccabees, you know, some of the guys that have been around here that have performed at a high level. You have them here, and then you bring some really talented guys in around them. It's been fun. It's been fun since the spring. It's been fun. You know, that is the one thing, like with the transfer portal, it's like you kind of get new toys. You get a Christmas every year, where you used to not necessarily get that.
Being able to step up to this level, do you have a chip on your shoulder?
Definitely.
Is that part of it?
It has to be part of it. You know, coming up to, you know what I'm saying, the power forward level, you playing against bigger guys, faster guys, so you want to show that you belong.
But you belong, right?
For sure.
But from the first conversation with him on the phone, I mean, it was clear he's an incredible leader. You know, we always talk about that as superpower. Superpower is his leadership ability. And that's one thing that he got on even on his official visit, and how the players gravitated towards him, and when he sat down with them and talked about how he was going to lead them, and that's what they wanted.
Once you describe each other's game, you just get one word, though.
Okay. Freak.
Go ahead.
Yeah. That boy, different.
Bro, you finna steal mine. That's mine.
You know, Ryan has a lot on his plate. You know, we meet offensively and defensively all the time. And then he's in and out of the meetings. You know, he'll come in, and then sometimes it's like you got to summarize, like, hey, we just covered this. This is where we are. I like this, I like this, I like this. Think about this here. You can run it by him that way. But he does get pulled in a lot of directions. I can empathize with him because I've been a head coach. I was head coach for 15 years. You know, you understand what that role is like. But the fact that I just get to do football is a pretty cool part. So,
we got a lot of great talent, a lot of good weapons, and I'm excited to see you guys.
So Houston Griffith isn't holding you back at all.
Oh, no, Houston, you know, coming from the defensive side, he got a lot of tools, a lot of things to teach us. You know, he's still learning too, but Houston, great guy, great grad assistant. You know, he does what Coach says. I mean, he brings us in, we watch film together, so he teaches us a lot just coming from that defensive side.
All right, I'll give you a couple dollars later for that.
When you first get to a new place, you know, you're a little timid, new guy, just trying to make your way. But as I grew closer with the team and came together, I mean, the biggest thing we focus on is energy. Like we've talked about it, just energy. Come in, excited, let's do it.
The coaches talk about you mastering this offense, and you've talked about you feel like you have a real great comfortability with it. What is it that you have learned? What is it that you like about the system that Will Stein runs?
Yeah, so early on it was Japanese 5, you know, coming in, maybe an AP class as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's Spanish 1 now, and I can speak a little bit and kind of show off, you know, here and there within the play. But just what we've been able to do, I think, as you execute and find your confidence in the offense, you know, now you're able to kind of show off. So it's been fun, and we have a lot of weapons that make it super easy. So a lot of fun, to say the least.
Anybody like that knows coaching and coaching families, it's tough, especially this time of year where it's truly 24/7. This is the meat and potatoes of our season. And then once we get in the season, you know, those Thursday nights when we get off a little earlier, those are nice.
Got to sprint home.
Oh, yeah.
Sprint home.
We got young quarterbacks, but, I mean, they didn't come in thinking young. You know, they came in with an experienced mind. Some great young QBs, you know, that got an arm too. And they came in good. And they're just trying to stack the days, you know, the dog days of camp, and trying to stack the days and being consistent and working on the things they need to work on. But, I mean, they might be freshmen, but they don't play like freshmen.
That's something you're working with every quarterback constantly, you know, and he's still developing in that area. But I've never had one that Joe Flacco was a first-round draft pick. You know, he was still working on that to the very end of his time with me at Delaware. So it's something we're always working on. Experiences are really important at the position. When you're throwing the ball in a window, you need to get a feel for how big is that window. These eyes are amazing. They're amazing, but they got to tell the brain something.
It's different. It's something that I've never really never really done. You know, obviously you see it on Sundays with the NFL and things like that, but, you know, I'm used to looking over the sideline and seeing, you know, 3 or 4 guys signal plays, and now, you know, it's just coach in my ear telling me the play, and then, you know, he'll give me a last-second reminder or something like that. So it's good. It's kind of hard to hear. You know, it's like a walkie-talkie, but once you get the hang of it, I think it's going to be good.
At some point, you're going to tell him he's going to have to turn it down, right? You can't turn it off. There's no on and off
button. I'm just worried
button.
about, like, hearing it, like, at Penn State or something like that.
Tell me about this Lego collection.
I got a big collection. My girlfriend Emma and I, we got a huge collection together that we just like to, you know, spend nights just building Legos.
How did it start?
It started last year when I got injured. Something to, you know, to fill some of my time up and take my mind off of things. So it was a lot of fun.
I have to ask you more specifically about Van Dyke and what you've seen from him, because everybody thinks of him as a pure pocket passer, but you're saying that that's not necessarily true. He's been using his legs, extending some plays. What have you learned about him?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I don't know who declares what these kids are, okay?
These media people have no idea what they're talking about.
But no, I didn't say media people now, all right? But you get this pocket passer deal, and then you watch 3 years of film, and what you realize is nobody has really asked him to do anything. And that might have been philosophy of the offense. So it's not like they were doing anything wrong. I just think there are a lot more quarterbacks who can utilize their legs as a weapon. They don't all have to be Deshaun Watson or RG3, right? Date myself a little bit there probably, but they don't have to be those guys, but it doesn't mean they're immobile pocket guys that can't threaten the defense and can't be somebody that they have to worry about. And Tyler has proven that, and we've asked more of him, and he's so far has given it to us.
I know everybody, you know, is excited to see who's going to throw us the ball, but, you know, right now...
You can tell me. You can tell me. Coach said it was okay. You can tell me.
You know what? Man, I wish I could catch passes from all of them, but, you know, we're all being, you know, very encouraging to, you know, all of the quarterbacks, you know, because, you know, that's big, you know, confidence. Nobody, you know, knows how it's going to end, but everyone comes into camp competing every day, and it's all brotherly love at the end of the day.
Like, I'm just one of, you know, 13 coaches that are on the offense side of the ball that are working. I'm pretty fortunate that I get to work with a lot of, like, really good coaches that have been here for a while, some that are lettermen. You know, they understand Penn State, and so they we're so ready to embrace, I guess, my ideas and thoughts because they're yearning to take the next step.
Coach, did you say 13 offensive coaches? Is that what you said?
Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny because my first full-time coaching job, I was at the University of Wisconsin-River Falls. I was the only full-time offensive coach, and then through every step of my career, now there's 13 guys in the room, and it's impressive.
You know it's getting real when teams start posting their preseason hype vids, as the Gophers did earlier this week. One of the new additions to PJ Fleck's staff is DC Corey Heatherman, who is actually a college quarterback and leads off our look and listen with some of the Big Ten's most intriguing DCs and defensive stars.
How does having played on the offensive side of the ball help you as someone who's trying to stop offenses?
You know, it's been so long ago now. I don't remember it. You know, I think just, you know, how's the offense trying to attack you? You know, what are they looking for? Where, you know, what are some of the things that we might tip, or what are they looking for from us pre-snap? Different areas they're going to attack, you know, different areas of the field, personnel driven. You know, those are just the things we're constantly trying to game plan, trying to figure out, trying to take away. You know, if we could take those away and make the offense one-dimensional, or, you know, maybe take what they're good at away and put the ball in someone else's hands. You know, that's always what we're trying to look at.
That was very exciting. We used to joke, like, when we were younger, like my main goal in life is just to sack you, and then like in the NFL, and then I'm gonna just take off my pads, retire right there. So just to do it was kind of ironic, but just to do it, just to sack him in a real game, that's probably the only time I show like real excitement. But I don't know, I need to come up with a celebration. Because I'd be excited, I just don't really know what to do.
You mentioned being a new father a year ago. I'm 18 years ahead of you on twin girls. What kept you up more during this off season? Late night feedings or thinking about prepping for Oregon's offense?
You know, Coach B always talks about, right, going 1-0. Right, and obviously, I mean, what Dan Lannon has done there has been awesome, right? Oregon's got a really, really talented offense. They got good players to speak as well, but, you know, just truly trying to focus on week one opponent and what we got ahead. But them babies kept me up quite some time.
I was going to say, when you going to get to the real?
them babies kept me up quite some
That's
time.
the meat of it. Yeah. Don't worry about Oregon's offense when the time comes. You got to get those kids back to sleep.
Yes, sir.
Growing up, I always looked up to my brothers. I always wanted to do what they were doing. So if they were outside, playing sports, doing something, I wanted to be out there. And I was always younger, so I'd always kind of get hurt playing with them. But there was that toughness. Me and my second brother, Brandon, would play the return game. So he would throw the ball down to me, and then I have to run and make a move, return however far I got, that was many points. I remember one time Jake was telling me about it, how he. I scored. I got around Brandon, I scored, and he was pissed. So he threw it down the next time, just laid me out right.
So before I even get to you, my first thing, I have to time the snap so I can make sure I'm getting the best get off, the best release. So if I know I'm getting a running back, my first thought is I'm a power through him. So I'm 6'4", 250, so I'm bigger than most running backs, fullbacks, whatever you want to call it. My first thought, I'm just using my force. I'm powering right through you against the quarterback.
So what happens if I open up in that position? So if I see you running, if I'm the back, I'm trying to get down here as quickly as possible, but maybe I leave this leg open. What's your response to that?
Well, I'm going to just take that. So I'm also reading, so whatever you give me, I'm going to take.
Okay.
Maybe I'll come here, I'll stab you here, then I'm pulling you by. I'm getting right to the quarterback.
Okay.
Man, Coach Knowles is a really smart guy. I mean, the defense that he's built, from the secondary to the second level and then to the front, it's so in depth and it's so it works. It's a great scheme. We all love playing in it. I think that he's done a great job this offseason of letting us have a little more freedom, maybe play a little looser. And I think that's just making us play faster and allowing us to be the athletes that we are, allowing Caleb Downs to be Caleb Downs, so to speak. So I think that he's done a great job with us this offseason, and along with the other coaches on the staff too. And, the guys are coming along, and, young guys are stepping up too. So that's really important with the longer season this year.
If the offense would slow down a little bit, it'll make a difference. But these guys are going to continue to go fast, and sign language is still the best language to have on on the defensive side at least. So, we'll take advantage of it though, being able to give them some clues, give them some help, as they see it and move around, and really just communicating with the guys that do most of the verbal communication for us on the field will be really big for us.
Tell me about this offensive side. How has that been looking this training camp?
Yeah, it's just been stressful for us. There's no other way to put it for that. Yeah. Those guys, they come out every single day and they're working. Just like being a new guy last year, I know how hard it is to learn a new system. Mm-hmm. But those guys, they come out and they compete, and the way they've been attention to detail and the way they've prepared for practice and everything that they've done, they give us a lot of stress every single day, and they compete, and those boys are coming after us.
And they got good players. It doesn't matter if you know the play. If Luke Lachey's running the route, sometimes it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Even when I was a player playing at the University of Washington, the Big Ten was known for powerhouse football. At any point in time, for us, you had to get them out of running the ball to put them in your role. In the Pac-12, everything was quarterback-driven. So it's all about coverages and disguises and how much pressure you can put on a quarterback. So it'll be a push and pull from two different conferences coming together. One will have to build the physicality part, at least in my opinion, and then the focus on that. And then I believe on the Big Ten side, they're trying to figure out the spread offenses and things of that nature where it's not always powerhouse. So I think as a whole, I'm really excited about the Big Ten because we're bringing so much to the table for both teams.
I think it's truly just a blessing. It's kind of like he said in a previous interview a year ago, it's like a dream come true. To be able to play not only high school and at our previous university, and then somehow, God willing, we were able to end up at another university at the same time I think it's just, like I said, nothing short of a blessing.
Tell me about this.
Oh, gee. Yeah.
Tell me about this pick.
Coach, we have
this is great.
Yeah, I know. We have a group chat with all the older guys on the defense, and Coach White said that picture into it, and we all just, we were laughing. We couldn't believe it.
I told you to be ready for the curveball. It was coming.
Yeah, that's the curveball.
It was really tough to leave. I had a great situation at the school that I was at before at Minnesota. PJ was a great guy to work for, too, ran a really good program. But it's closer to home for me. This is the closest I've ever been in my coaching career. I'm a Pittsburgh guy. My wife and I have had more family over since June than we've had in probably 5 years combined in Minnesota. And then I think there's some things here, some pieces in place to be able and go to have a successful run.
Tell me about having to tackle Kyle Monangai. What's that experience like?
Listen, I'm going to say this right here. Never gotten ran over by Kyle Monangai.
You have to make that point?
I'm making that point
It's
right now.
your teammate.
It's my teammate, but guess what? We competing on the field, outside the field. Yeah, he's gotten sticked up. I ain't gonna lie. He's gotten sticked up. But not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Kyle, great running back. You know, our iron sharpens iron. One of the best in the Big Ten. Yeah. So going up against that every day, that helps everyone. That helps everyone, especially with the effort that he gives and, you know, how he runs. You know, that prepares us because I don't think we're going to play a running back as good as that because Kyle's just that guy. Yeah, he's different. That guy.
Well, Kyle may be that guy, but the Big Ten is that conference when it comes to women's college volleyball. Recently released AVCA rankings. You have 5 teams inside the top 10, led by defending national runner-up Nebraska, Minnesota, and USC, giving the league a full 7 teams inside the top 25. And that will wrap up this edition of Big Ten Today. Thanks again to our guests, Cody Simon and Noah Kent. They were both absolutely terrific. Hard to believe this is the final week of our training camp tour. We have been all over the place, from West Lafayette all the way to the West Coast. We've seen the new schools. We've seen the returning schools. And it finally comes to a close this week. But we have much more coming up on the Wednesday edition of Big Ten Today. We'll see you then at noon Eastern.